get you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
Broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umugana. The headlines. President Paul Kagame today received Isufu Muhammadu, former president of Nigeria, and Haile Mariam Desalegn, former prime minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. The meeting of the Joint Permanent Commission on Rwanda and DRC. The meeting of the Joint Permanent Commission on Rwanda and DRC has re-emphasized the need to eradicate FDLR terrorist group and its splinter groups. President Samia Suluhu Hassan and Uhuru Kenyatta officially opened the 42.4-kilometer Arusha bypass. President Paul Kagame today received Isufu Muhammadu, former president of Nigeria, Haile Mariam Desalegn, former prime minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Kadru Sebunya, African Wildlife Foundation CEO, Deputy Director General of International Union for Conservation of Nature, Stuart Majinis, Director General of World Wildlife Fund, Marco Lambertini, and Assistant Director General of UNESCO, Shamila Nel Budele. The delegation is in Kigali for the ongoing Africa Protected Areas Congress. President Paul Kagame also met with Dr. Nkosana Moyo, founder and executive chairman of Mandela Institute for Development Studies. Rwanda and Senegal have launched technology to verify people's clinical data, putting information including COVID-19 test results and vaccination details. These countries are the first on the continent to launch the technology dubbed Smart Health Card, which will help health officials to digitally record, keep, and verify people's clinical information. The Smart Health Cards contain a secure QR code and may be saved digitally and printed on paper by the holder. Dr. Daniel Ngamije, Minister of Health, said good health requires good data, beginning with the dissemination of smart health cards for the COVID-19 vaccinations. Senegal is working to empower citizens with access to their health records using open standards. The smart health cards will be required at stadiums, concerts, and other public events in the near future, but it is also important for a person to keep his or her clinical records digitally. Smart health cards are used in the United States of America, England, Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Ireland, among others. Companies in the private to be more proactive in contributing to the growth of the country's health sector, and this should be incorporated in their social corporate responsibility. This call was made as representatives of major private companies in the country visited the just completed Gishamba Shayo Health Post located in Gicumbi district. The health post was built through collaboration between UNICEF Rwanda, Society for Family Health, SC Johnson, and the Private Sector Federation. Organized by UNICEF, the visit aimed at showcasing to the private sector what role they can play in advancing the country's health sector. The firms represented include Crystal Ventures Limited, Sanlam, Cogebanque, Ngali Holdings, IHS Towers, African Medical Supplies Limited, Bank of Kigali, Surgate, I&M Bank, Wolfram Mining and Processing Company, among others. Senators have requested that the service of correcting national identity cards errors should be offered for free since the errors made are not the residents making. The request was put up during the plenary session of the Senate that debated on and adopted the report of the Committee on Political Affairs and Governance on the oversight of service delivery in decentralized administration entities. Manzi Prince has more on this report.
Sector leaders are charging 1,500 for correction of errors on national identity cards, a system that is apparently weighing down on residents. Senator Lambert Dushimimana, chairperson of the Committee on National Affairs and Governance, stressed that residents are being charged one. Sector leaders are charging 1,500 for correction of errors on national identity cards, a system that is apparently weighing down on residents. Senator Lambert Dushimimana, chairperson of the Committee on National Affairs and Governance, stressed that residents are being charged 1,500 Rwandan francs for that service, and they told us this cost is weighing down on them. In some cases, you find that a male resident has been registered as female or vice versa without their knowledge. They only know it when they go to sex services, save for construction permit. He said, adding that some do not understand why they were even photographed but given the wrong gender. This situation implies that for some citizens, the national identification system has information that is not accurate. Meanwhile, some people were apparently not aware that ID correction services are offered at sector level. Senator Akanziza Epifani said that some residents were coming to Kigali to get their IDs corrected, yet ID cards are collected by civil registrars at sector level, who then work with the National Identification Agency to rectify them. This would save them money and time. According to NIDA, the basic documents required for ID correction include a copy of passport, all the papers, and the birth record made within 15 days of the notary's signature, and a payment of 1,500 Rwandan francs. NIDA indicated that ID correction services are provided at the sector where the applicant resides with one of the above documents and payment receipt of 1,500 Rwandan francs.
The meeting of the Joint Permanent Commission on Rwanda and DRC has re-emphasized the need to eradicate FDLR terrorist group and its splinter groups. The meeting also tasked the East African Community Regional Force to deal with the terror group upward deployment. The Joint Permanent Commission on Rwanda and DRC was established by a roadmap on the pacification process in the eastern region of DRC, which was agreed upon on July 6th during a tripartite summit in Luanda that brought together President Paul Kagame, his DRC counterpart Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, and their host Joao Lourenço. Rwanda delegation to Angola was led by Foreign Affairs Minister Vincent Biruta, while the DRC delegation was led by Christophe Lutundula Apala Penapala, Deputy Prime Minister in charge of Foreign Affairs. In a communique issued by the Commission in Luanda, Angola, where the Commission held its first sitting, both Rwanda and DRC, together with Angola as the mediator, agreed on the deployment of the East African Community Regional Force that will be tasked, among others, to ensure total eradication of FDLR's splinter groups, including CNRD, FLN, Rud Urunana, and FPPH Abajarugamba. The existence of the FDR and its affiliates in the DRC is the origin of tensions between Rwanda and DRC and plays a major role in the insecurity in eastern DRC.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Now the Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. Today's trading session recorded its turnover of 26,090,000 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 5 deals on the fixed income market and 42,973,100 Rwandan francs from 280,100 shares traded in 7 deals on the equities market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 265 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a turnover of 132,500 Rwandan francs from 500 shares traded in 1 deal. Bregwa closed the counter at 160 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a turnover of 42,144,000 Rwandan francs from 263,400 shares traded in 4 deals. I&M Bank closed the counter at 43 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a turnover of 696,600 from 16,200 shares traded in 2 deals. M10 Rwanda closed the counter at 177 Rwandan francs. Simerwa at 120 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. Now the currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.26 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.27 Rwandan francs. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,017 and the selling price was 1,037. The British pound buying price was 1,216 and the selling price was 1,241. The euro buying price was 1,036 and the selling price was 1,057.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan and Uhuru Kenyatta officially opened the 42.4-kilometer Arusha bypass, which is part of the regional Arusha-Holili-Taveta-Voi transit corridor that links Tanzania with Kenya. Speaking at the launch at the Arusha State House, the leaders hailed the project as a major integration enabler, enhancing the movement of goods and people and boosting trade. President Kenyatta said it would help ease traffic congestion in Arusha and further help connect East Africa. The UN's highest court has ruled that a landmark case accusing military-ruled Myanmar of genocide against minority Rohingya Muslims can go ahead. The International Court of Justice in The Hague threw out all of Myanmar's objections to a case filed by the West African nation of the Gambia in 2019. The decision paved the way for full hearings at the court on allegations over a bloody 2017 crackdown on the Rohingya by majority Buddhist Myanmar. 95% of monkeypox cases have been transmitted through sexual activity, according to the largest study to date, which also noted a new clinical signs such as single genital lesions. The research published in the New England Journal of Medicine came as World Health Organization experts debated whether to classify the outbreak as a global health emergency, the highest alarm it can sound. Kiev and Moscow have signed a deal on resuming grain exports from Ukraine's Black Sea ports. Ukraine ruled out signing a direct accord with Russia, with both sides instead adopting mirror agreements with Ankara and the UN. Russia's defense minister said that Moscow will not take advantage of the demanding of and opening of Ukrainian ports as part of a UN brokered deal to restart vital grain exports from the country. Canada's Prime Minister says the G7 will be watching closely to ensure a deal to resume Ukrainian grain exports through the Black Sea does not put Ukraine further at risk of being further invaded and attacked by Russia. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.